Afghanistan is in chaos. President Joe Biden is facing criticism, but he's blaming Trump. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Just a reminder, YouTube has secretly unsubscribed people before, so take a moment to make sure you're still subscribed. And while you're at it, leave us a like for the algorithm. Now, none of us like seeing Afghanistan rapidly changing for the worse. The Taliban has basically taken control.
Taliban fighters marching through the streets, dressed in all white, the color of the Taliban's flag, and a symbol they're ready for martyrdom. While outside the last remaining U.S. base at Kabul airport, chaos continues. This is what crowds have to face to get inside. Shooting, violence, Taliban whips. American troops worry if they open the gates, people will flood in. There's desperation and anguish.
And recently, adding insult to injury, Taliban fighters donned seized U.S. military gear to mock the iconic U.S. Iwo Jima flag-raising photo. Nevertheless, President Joe Biden says his decision to pull out was the right one. Here's his speech right after the Taliban seized Kabul, Afghanistan's capital.
We went to Afghanistan almost 20 years ago with clear goals. Get those who attacked us on September 11, 2001, and make sure al-Qaeda could not use Afghanistan as a base from which to attack us again. We did that. That was a decade ago. Our mission in Afghanistan was never supposed to have been nation building. It was never supposed to be creating a unified, centralized democracy. Our only vital national interest in Afghanistan remains today what it has always been: preventing a terrorist attack on America's homeland. And that's why, as president, I'm adamant that we focus on the threats we face today in 2021, not yesterday's threats.
But the issue is how the U.S. pulled out. Biden chose a botched Afghan exit, and that's CNN saying that. Kind of different tone from the fluff pieces about how much he likes ice cream.
My name is Joe Biden. I love ice cream.
Yeah, well, you know who else loves ice cream? The Taliban. A comparison my favorite Chinese state-run media, the Global Times, actually made. Hey, Global Times, everyone loves ice cream, okay? Including Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Anyway, back to Afghanistan. U.S. media outlets, including the liberal ones, are criticizing Biden's withdrawal. The Atlantic says the Biden administration failed to heed the warnings on Afghanistan, failed to act with urgency, and its failure has left tens of thousands of Afghans to a terrible fate. Many of America's allies are upset.
Es ist das größte Debakel, das die NATO seit ihrer Gründung erleidet. Und es ist ein Epochenwechsel, vor dem wir stehen.
There's a good reason why that's the case. Many are shocked that President Biden and his team didn't ready better preparations over nearly 7 months since taking office. Biden instead wasted the chance to save U.S. allies in Afghanistan. Wow, even Vox is piling on Biden. A member of the International Refugees Assistance Project says it shouldn't have come to this. Biden's failure to act more quickly is going to cost people their lives, and it's unconscionable. And that's not the final backstab. Some of Biden's closest allies are questioning Biden's execution of the withdrawal, like Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Democrat Mark Warner. He wanted to know why we weren't better prepared for a worst-case scenario involving such a swift and total collapse of the Afghan government and security forces. Democratic strategist Chris Kofinis says President Biden's team failed him across the board. Not only should his national security advisor and his Secretary of State be fired immediately, but anyone who let this national disgrace happen should be fired. But Biden isn't taking the criticism lying down. He shot back, saying the chaos was inevitable.
So you don't think this could have been handled, this actually could have been handled better in any way? No mistakes?
No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that happened.
So for you, that was always priced into the decision?
Yes.
Wow. So Biden is really doubling down. He really believes this was the only way it could have gone down and stands by his decision. Except for when he starts blaming Trump for his decision. Or after the break. Welcome back. According to President Biden, President Trump forced him to pull out of Afghanistan.
When I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. Under his agreement, U.S. forces would be out of Afghanistan by May 1, 2021, just a little over 3 months after I took office. The choice I had to make as your president was either to follow through on that agreement or be prepared to go back to fighting the Taliban in the middle of the spring fighting season.
The deal he's referring to is the Doha Peace Agreement, struck between the U.S. and the Taliban. The Trump administration brokered a deal with the Taliban in February 2020 that laid out a plan for the U.S. to fully withdraw from Afghanistan by May 2021. This was in return for Taliban promises not to harbor terrorists and to engage in their first direct negotiations with the Afghan government. So were Biden's hands tied? Well, not really. The Doha Agreement had an escape clause. The U.S. could have withdrawn from the accord if Afghan peace talks failed. A top aide to the chief U.S. negotiator of the Doha Agreement says the agreement was not irreversible and there is no obligation for the United States to withdraw troops if the Afghan parties are unable to reach agreement or if the Taliban show bad faith. Chris Miller, Trump's last acting defense secretary, says Biden could have renegotiated. He had plenty of opportunity to do that if he so desired. In the end, Biden chose to stick with the deal, even after Afghan peace talks failed. He only tweaked it by delaying the complete withdrawal from May to September. It sounds like Trump really isn't the one holding Biden back, especially since Biden himself admitted he would have sought withdrawal even without Trump's Taliban deal. So this doesn't look great for Biden. But you know, Trump isn't the kind of guy to kick a man while he's down. He's shown tremendous self-restraint. I'm just kidding. He's been tearing into Biden like a one-man hyena pack. More after the break. Welcome back. Both Biden and Trump agree that the U.S. needed to withdraw from Afghanistan. They both have said they're against forever wars and the idea the U.S. can engage in long-lasting wars that don't have clear conditions for ending conflict. In fact, back in April, Trump called Biden's withdrawal wonderful and positive. Wait, Trump complimented Biden? That doesn't sound like the Trump we all know. What's that, Shelley? Oh, it was Trump bragging that nobody could stop the withdrawal he started.
I started the process. All the troops are coming back home. They couldn't stop the process. 21 years is enough, don't we think? 21 years. They couldn't stop the process.
And Biden was okay going with it. But now that the wonderful and positive withdrawal has been a catastrophe, Trump wasted no time roasting Biden the moment disaster hit Afghanistan. He calls on Biden to resign in disgrace over the crisis in Afghanistan. He said it makes America's Vietnam pullout look like child's play. Trump also slammed Biden's withdrawal as a lamb being led to slaughter. Wait, I thought Trump said it was his plan all along. No, sorry. According to Trump, Biden ran out of Afghanistan instead of following the plan the Trump administration left for him. Now, we don't exactly know what plans Trump left for Biden. But here's Trump explaining what should have happened.
It's a mess. It's a mess like nobody's ever seen before. This is the most embarrassing moment in our country, in our country's history. You got to get your people out, and you got to get them out first. Then you take your equipment out, and after you take your equipment out, you bomb the hell out of the forts so nobody else can use them, because I was going to do that. I said, I want every one of these forts. It'll take a plane 2 hours, and you bomb the hell out of them. Now they're being used by the Taliban. It's not even believable.
But in a wonderful sign of bipartisan healing and togetherness, some are saying the fall of Afghanistan is both Biden and Trump's fault. Mark Esper, Trump's former defense secretary who was fired for opposing withdrawal, says both presidents failed to pursue withdrawal the right way. Both presidents stuck to arbitrary timelines and hastened the Afghan government's collapse. Republican Senator Ben Sasse says President Trump pioneered the strategy of retreat President Biden is pursuing to disastrous effect. And former National Security Council member John Bolton says he has no confidence Trump would have executed the withdrawal any more competently than Biden. So you see, it is still possible for all of us as Americans to come together and be angry at our leaders regardless of which party they belong to. What do you think? Leave your comments below. And if you like this show, please know we could not do it without direct support from viewers like you. Visit patreon.com/America Uncovered and contribute $1 or more per episode to help us keep the show going. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.